Sunday is a can't-lose game for the Seahawks. In my eyes, if this team goes down 0-2 on the year, I don't know how you make the playoffs. I can't remember the exact stat off the top of my head right now, but it's less than 50% of teams that go down 0-2 make it to the postseason in the NFL. I'm going to pick 5 Seahawks to watch to make sure that the Seahawks go 1-0 on Sunday. Now we need a vibes check. How are we feeling about our Seattle Seahawks? Right now, scale 1 to 12. Some of the injury report news. I think I'm right around that 7.5, 8 mark. Maybe I'm getting close to 8.5, 9. Let me know what you think. Go down in the comments and give it your own ranking. Now my first player that we're going to have to watch, it's Cooper freaking Kupp. Yakima's finest, AC Davis's finest. A player that I actually got to go see back when he was still kicking it on the Inferno over at Eastern Washington. And unfortunately, he was your big skill player free agent signing, and he was nowhere to be found when it came to week 1. It felt like every time there was a key third down, I would sit up here and say, hey, producer Colin, when is Cooper Kupp going to get a big catch and get that first down like he did so many times against the Seahawks when he was with the Rams, and it just didn't come. He only had 3 targets in this game. Now, he made the most of 2, but the most important one that was on a key and crucial third down, he didn't come up with it. He cannot be a no-show when it comes to this Sunday in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. You have to have another weapon in that wide receiver room other than just Jackson Smith-Njigba. And when I look at how Cooper Kupp performed, I think he's going to be the very first person to tell you that last week not only wasn't good enough, that he can be momentously better. He can be 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of what he was. Because coming down with only 2 catches, frankly, it's just never going to be enough. Now, my other player of the 5, my second one that needs to step up, ironically enough, is also on the offensive side of the football, and that's Kenneth Walker III. When you go through the game that he had, I don't know how Seattle can even have a contemplation of him being running back 1. Why are we continuing to do this? Kenneth Walker, since his injury, and frankly, since last year, has not performed at a rate of being a running back 1. Not a feature back, not even the main back in a duo system. When I look at Kenneth Walker and his performances last season before he got hurt, and then this season so far, his joint practice time, it isn't good enough, and Zach Charbonnet should be the guy getting the bulk of the touches. Look at this stat line. It's atrocious. And if I was being really mean, I'd throw in Kenneth Walker's receiving stat line, and then you'd figure out that, Kenneth Walker averaged less than 2 yards a touch. Less than 2 yards a touch. I understand, man, you're going against the vaunted San Francisco 49ers defense. Robert Saleh's back with a vengeance. He wants to make sure that he proves to everyone in the NFL that not only is he a good coach, but that the game hasn't passed him by. But in my eyes, this is absolutely horrific play. Zach Charbonnet got 47 yards in that game. I understand it. That's not a great stat line. 47 rushing yards is not good enough to win most football games. But when you play a defense like Robert Saleh had, when you completely abandon the game plan that you had going into this entire season, in my eyes, which was run the football effectively, dive into play action pass, 47 yards, that isn't half bad, especially when the 49ers just started bringing all those blitzes because they knew the only guy that could beat him on the outside was Jackson Smith-Njigba. I am over the Kenneth Walker experiment, but he's got one shot. While I might be done with it, apparently Coach Mike Macdonald and Coach Kubiak do not agree with me. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think that the starting running back should be Zach Charbonnet? That he should be getting 20 carries to Kenneth Walker's 5 to 10? Or do you think it should be Kenneth Walker? If you think it should be Zach Charbonnet, type 26 in the chat. If you think it should be Kenneth Walker, make sure that you slam that 9 button in the chat as well. Now, this is where my watch list gets a little funky. In the past, when I've done a watch list, it's been, hey, this guy has to step up. I've done my Stephen A. impersonation where he has to be better. Well, Unfortunately, I don't know that DeMarcus Lawrence can be any better than what he was last Sunday. He was absolutely lights out, on fire, playing the game with his hair on fire, getting in the backfield, making plays, chasing poor Brock Purdy around. He's probably one of the many reasons why Brock Purdy is so bruised and beat up right now for San Francisco. But in my eyes, I need more sacks. And by that I mean, pressures is great. Getting to the quarterback, getting quarterback hurries is fine. Making them feel uncomfortable. Playing in the backfield is fantastic. I can't complain. It's an A- game from a great player. But you need to finish off with sacks because sacks are drive killers. And unfortunately, against San Francisco, you weren't able to hit home. In fact, only one player was able to hit home, and that's when you sent Julian Love out on a blitz. Now, don't get me wrong. DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm not upset with how he played. When you're in the backfield getting multiple tackles for loss, it's a pretty darn good game. But when you're going up against someone who's a statue, like Aaron Rodgers, we all saw it. If you watch that early game, Steelers versus the Jets, the guy can't move. He can still throw the ball pretty darn well. You can still see all the aspects of his game from when he was an MVP candidate and an MVP winner. If you can get DeMarcus Lawrence playing the way he did against the 49ers and getting into the backfield quickly, you're going to be able to sack Aaron Rodgers, and that's going to be a complete game factor, X factor in this game. It's going to be a game changer. It's going to help push the Seahawks into that victory mode because I've already said it once. This game is a can't lose. You cannot go down 0-2. If they're able to get back there with DeMarcus Lawrence and my next watch list member, Seattle's going to win this game. Leonard Williams. If Julian Love was the best defensive player in this game, Leonard Williams was the second. One, he's versatile, so you can use him in multiple different positions on that defensive line. They use him at the D-end spot. They use him at the D-tackle spot. There are even spots where I've seen him line up at nose guard. In fact, his pick 6 against Aaron Rodgers last year in the Meadowlands, he was at nose guard. Leonard Williams was an absolute beast. It's clear to me that he took offense to not being an All-Pro. He's going to make sure that he gets that done this season. It feels like whenever Mike Macdonald gets to a new team, there is a defensive lineman that takes 2 or 3 gigantic steps forward. It's clear that that's Leonard Williams in this system. He has to continue to be hot. But here's my reason for it. It's not that this team isn't going to be able to play at a high enough rate. It's that you have too many injuries in the secondary. Right now, best case scenario, you're without Nick Emmanwori. Best case scenario, you're down, you're starting big nickel. There's a chance that you're down a safety in Julian Love. There's a chance you're down Devon Witherspoon too. Those tackle numbers have to go up. You can't just have 3 solo tackles. I'm sorry, it's not a fair ask by me. But if this defensive front can take over this game, well, then the corners don't have to cover for 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. And that should make life easier for them in the long run. When you look at Aaron Rodgers, he isn't able to move the way that he used to. No 41-year-old can that's coming off an Achilles tear. So dial up the pressure. Dial up the blitzes. Let Leonard Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence cook. Let them get after Aaron Rodgers to make life easier on Josh Jobe. If Devon Witherspoon plays, Julian Love plays, make their lives easier because we already know that they're beat up and banged up. If Reek Woolen has to go back out there, fingers crossed he doesn't, you need to make life easier on him because he showed in the last game that when it's a crucial moment and you give a quarterback just enough time, he might end up making a big-time mistake. Those two played great last Sunday. I need them to play even better, and I think that they can. My last player that has to step up, it's the rookie. It's the guy I stood on the table for. It's the guy that I said you should cut MVS for, and that's Tory Horton. Dude, I didn't hear who from you. Where were you? Tory Horton was nowhere to be found in this game. He was absolutely clamped, locked down, and in that wide receiver 3 position, he's supposed to be your deep threat. You cannot have your deep threat be completely lost in the shuffle. You cannot have your deep threat not have an opportunity to catch a deep ball, but it wasn't Sam Darnold's fault that he didn't have an opportunity to catch a deep ball. He didn't do anything with it. Take Jackson Smith and Jigba out of this wide receiver depth chart. Cooper Kupp has to step up. Tory Horton has to step up. The only reason Jake Bobo doesn't have to step up is because, well, he was hurt. But he needs to make sure that he has a good first game. Tory Horton, be that deep play threat. Burn someone on the Steelers because it opens everything else up. It stops the Steelers from being able to stack the box. It also allows your short passing game to be more open because a safety has to cover you over the top. It's no longer one-on-one coverage. It's two-on-one coverage, and that makes life easier for everybody else. Now, you want the Seattle Seahawks to win this game. The only way to do that is to support the show. Like the video so the Seahawks can go 1-0.